Everyone knew he was the devil. He's been the devil for 30 years. He's been covered and protected by not only Clive Davis, but Lucian Grange. He was selected to be the demon that he is, to keep the culture in line so the industry could continue to keep it for all of its precious jewels. We have too many lost. The list of lost is ridiculous, and everyone knows Diddy was selected for this job. He's the Judas.
There's an arrest coming. There's actually 2 arrests that are already made. There's a 3rd one coming. I don't know why people are sitting on this. I'm ready. I see that some people are not. I've been ready. A lot of you are ready. Like, let's get this over with, right?
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there, and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. And he's sitting there just looking at me, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to fuck you.
That it's so strong. But it goes down to an 88. That helps the defense, because everybody goes in thinking, wow, they're going to prove this, and they're going to prove this, and they're going to prove this, and all of a sudden, none of it's there. I think that actually helps the defense.
This coming week is that there is, at least anecdotally, when I talk to people, they have that opinion, strongly held opinion, that there's celebrity tapes, that they've kind of conflated Epstein, and you mentioned Ghislaine Maxwell and all of these things, into Diddy. There's this idea that somehow this is Epstein redux or something.
What made you come here to support Puff?
I'm supporting Puff because he's innocent, and I'm wholeheartedly believing his innocence, and I know he's innocent. So
you say you know he's innocent?
1,000%.
Do you still think that, because there is this public perception, that there are celebrity tapes involved in this case?
No.
Do you still think that there are minors involved in this case?
I'm certain no.
Okay.
And again, when you say this case, we're talking the criminal case.
The criminal case.
In the
correct.
criminal,
I know that.
In the criminal case, no.
Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs back behind bars, a magistrate judge denying him bail, saying that there were no conditions that she could conceive of that would make her confident that he would appear again for other court appearances. Courtroom by the U.S. Marshals. Now, his lawyers have vowed to fight this. They are going to be back in court on Wednesday before the judge who will oversee this trial and try to get Diddy to be released.
He was distant, aloof, and cold. Yet what we heard that day, the shouting, the threats, was nothing compared to what I saw later that night. That was when everything truly took a turn.
Federal trafficking.
Ever felt aggrieved and targeted by the government? He feels an obligation to those people to say, you know what?
That will test whether one of music's most prolific figures used his power, wealth, and fame.
Elaborate, sometimes days-long parties by coercing victims through drugs, threats, and manipulation. They claim to have video evidence, and some of the accusations echo details from over 70 civil lawsuits filed against Combs over the last 30 years.
This is going to be such a massive trial, like maybe the biggest Hollywood trial. God knows which way it's going to go. Is it going to go on for weeks? And
for sure, weeks.
The world watched as civil lawsuits piled up, each one adding a new, dark layer to a story unfolding behind the scenes for years. Whispers turned to shouts, but just as everyone braced for the battles in civil court, something else happened. Something far more sudden and potentially devastating. With barely any warning, federal authorities stepped in, unleashing a set of charges that instantly changed everything. This wasn't just another lawsuit. This was the U.S. government alleging a sweeping pattern of misconduct wrapped inside a criminal enterprise framework, claims previously only whispered about suddenly appearing in official documents. The indictment wasn't thin. It listed multiple felony counts, including claims of managing a long-running scheme of exploitation, specific allegations involving redacted and transporting individuals for illicit purposes, plus conspiracy charges. What's on the line? Not just money, but potentially life behind bars and the total seizure of a vast empire, from properties to music rights. Then came a moment that stunned many watching the unfolding drama. Facing these incredibly serious federal charges, the opportunity arose for a potential way out, a plea deal that could lessen the blow. But instead of taking it, the accused chose a different path entirely. He stood before the court and rejected the government's offer point blank. Why? His legal team stated his belief in absolute innocence and framed his decision as more than just fighting for himself, but standing up against alleged targeting by the government, aiming to break the model and prove that a black man could win against federal power. It was a high-stakes gamble few expected. To make those charges stick, the prosecution is preparing to unveil what they claim is a mountain of evidence. Reports indicate they plan to present surveillance camera footage, encrypted chat transcripts allegedly tracing secret payments, extensive banking data, detailed travel logs from private jets and cars, and even hotel security records tracking who was where and when. They say they have financial ledgers that connect the dots, and even an audio recording from a studio session that they claim reveals troubling behavior. This isn't just circumstantial. Prosecutors believe this evidence paints a clear, damning picture of a calculated enterprise, leaving very little to interpretation. But his defense team isn't backing down, countering these explosive claims with force. Their argument is sharp and direct. The government is twisting consensual adult relationships and standard lifestyles into something criminal. They suggest that the prosecution has simply pieced together rumors and business disagreements to build an indictment that's long on innuendo and short on actual facts. Those payments the government calls suspicious. The defense claims they were simply common non-disclosure agreements used all the time in the entertainment world. They are preparing to argue that the accusers are simply former associates with grudges, looking for payouts, and that much of the government's evidence is being taken completely out of context. Step inside the courtroom, and the atmosphere is anything but routine. Despite the gravity, unexpected moments punctuate the tension. The judge himself reportedly made light of the growing list of the accused's stage names and the sheer length of the questionnaire potential jurors had to fill out. Yet, through it all, the man at the center of the storm remained largely stone-faced, observing the complex process of jury selection. This phase alone is expected to take days, a testament to the difficulty of finding impartial jurors, given his immense fame and the sensitive nature of the allegations. Security is also notably heightened, with reports of online threats adding another layer of concern, requiring extra precautions even inside the courthouse walls. Adding weight to the prosecution's case is the anticipated lineup of witnesses set to take the stand. Reports indicate prosecutors plan to call a range of individuals, including former employees who might speak to alleged operations behind the scenes. Even bodyguards have reportedly secured immunity deals, suggesting they may offer testimony about alleged protocols for removing phones at parties or claims about delivering envelopes of cash. Accusers themselves are expected to testify, some potentially using pseudonyms to protect their identities, detailing how they were allegedly recruited and pressured. It's claimed their testimony could reveal alleged tactics used, like promising career opportunities or modeling gigs, only for the situation to allegedly turn coercive. Then there's the tangled web of finances currently being scrutinized. Prosecutors claim banking records show millions allegedly moving from the accused's businesses into cashier's checks labeled vaguely, or flowing through offshore accounts before being used for luxury purchases, now potentially facing forfeiture. The IRS has even launched a separate audit, reportedly looking into potential unreported income linked to parties described in lawsuits. It paints a picture, according to the government, of hidden financial dealings supporting the alleged enterprise. However, the defense maintains this is all speculative accounting, arguing that using short-term consultants and offshore entities are just normal, disclosed practices in the complex world of entertainment business, not evidence of anything illicit. the legal fight isn't the only battle being waged. The consequences are already rippling through an entire business empire and the wider culture. Brands like Sean John have reportedly paused collaborations, Spotify added disclaimers to his music, and Revolt Media saw changes in leadership. Legal observers are drawing comparisons to other high-profile cases where federal charges were used against powerful figures accused of personal misconduct. This trial could set a significant precedent for how federal law, like RICO, might be applied in the future to allegations against celebrities. Regardless of the verdict, the Bad Boy brand, built over decades, has suffered damage, and the outcome will undoubtedly reshape the landscape of the music industry and public perception of power and accountability. As the trial looms, the sheer scale of the conflict becomes clear. It's a collision of vast wealth, immense fame, grave allegations, and the full force of the U.S. legal system. With mountains of evidence, complex legal arguments, and potentially dozens of witnesses, the outcome remains shrouded in uncertainty. Will the jury believe the prosecution's claims of a calculated criminal enterprise built on exploitation? Or will the defense convince them that this is a case of consensual relationships being unfairly judged and misrepresented? Whatever the verdict, this trial is poised to be one of the most watched and significant legal battles involving a music mogul in recent history, forcing a harsh spotlight onto long-standing rumors and challenging the very foundations of a carefully constructed legacy. The fight for truth, or perhaps just legal victory, is far from over.